Namo tassa lokahitassa tathagatassa. Homage and my veneration to the Blessed One and their Venerable Sangha members and all the Dhamma friends and devotees. Let me express my gratitude and thanks to the organization for giving me this opportunity to share my Dhamma knowledge today. And let me receive the permission from the Venerable Sangha members for continuing my today's Dhamma talk. So today I'm going to talk about the Four Sublime Abodes, Satur Brahma Vihara, and I will also conduct meditation practicing the Four Sublime Abodes. And I would like to share presentation here for today's Dhamma talk. Okay, I think you can see the presentation PowerPoint.
Yes, yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I am, as the speaker has already mentioned, my name. I'm Prasannawati. I'm from Nepal and living in Kathmandu. So today I'm going to talk about the Four Sublime Abodes, Satur Brahma Vihara, and meditation. Okay, so as I found here, I think many of us are familiar about the Buddhism. So we are familiar also about the Satur Brahma Vihara, the Four Sublime Abodes. So I would like to introduce here first what is the Four Sublime Abodes or the Satur Brahma Vihara. In Buddhist scriptures, normally the Four Sublime Abodes are known as the name of Brahma Vihara. And why it is called Brahma Vihara. So this term may be rendered by excellent, lofty or sublime state of mind of Brahma who dwells with these qualities. Actually, normally in Buddhism, we believe that the Hindu god or Brahma dwells with these four sublime abodes, these qualities. That's why he is also called the Brahma. And in Buddhism, parents are also called the Brahma as they also possesses these four qualities. So we also believe that our parents are our mother and father also are Brahma also because they also have this kind of four qualities. So what are those four qualities? Metta, loving kindness; Karuna, compassion; Mudita, sympathetic joy or appreciative joy, we can say; and Upekkha, equanimity. So these are the four sublime abodes. Today we are going to talk. So we will go through one by one. Before that, why these four sublime abodes are important and what are these? I also want to take from Sangiti Sutra what it calls about. So these four sublime abodes are considered as the four immeasurable apamanya pleasure. They should not be narrowed by any limitation as to the range of beings towards whom they are extended. So this is called apamanya, or the immeasurables, because it cannot be measured as a person, or it cannot be narrowed down the limitations also, because we can like spread our Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha, anyone, our near ones, dear ones, or also things we can spread this kind of four sublime efforts. Also, there is no limitation about the durations or about the place. It is either like a one direction, two direction, or like that. So we can just spread to the all directions, all beings. So it is immeasurable. Now let's move to the first loving kindness. This is the first sublime force. It is metta. When we call metta, it is literally means friendliness. This is the and signifies the state of friend. Mitta sabhavo mitta. So when we call it metta, it means it's more about the friendliness. Like there should have the tenderness, moisturization, or have the that kind of intimacy of the friendliness. That is friendly feelings, like a friendly emotions, brotherly affection, or unconditioned love, free from lustful attachment, benevolence, fellowship, and non-violence. So this is the metta, which is free from, and where there is friendliness, so sometimes we may have much attachment, much lust. So this metta is free from that attachment, that kind of um, greediness or having too much attached. So it is the benevolence, fellowship, and non-violence that is called metta. The Pali commentaries define metta as the strong wish for the welfare and happiness of others. Parahita, parasukha kamana. So we will wish for others, for their good, for their happiness, for their welfare. So that is also called metta. So true metta is devoid from self-interest. It evokes within a warm-hearted feelings of fellowship, sympathy, and love, which grows boundless with practice and overcomes all social, religious, racial, political, and economic barriers. So metta is indeed a universal, selfish, and unselfish, and all embracing love. So whenever Buddha Rakkhita, what he says here is metta is free from self-interest. It means there should not have a partiality. So this is my beloved one, so I spread metta. It doesn't happen in that way actually, because it is impartiality actually. There should not have any discrimination when we just send metta. So it evokes within the warm-hearted feelings of fellowship. So this warm-hearted, not just because we love someone, because this is my son, this is my sister, this is my parents. This warm-hearted for all beings, and this is the sympathy and love which grows boundless with practice and overcomes all social and all these barriers. So this kind of impartial feelings and emotions only can overcome all these social and economic or any kind of barriers. If there is a metta towards our beloved one, then I think this kind of metta cannot be actual metta, and it cannot just overcome the social or the any kind of barriers within ourselves or in our society also. So that's why this metta should be devoid from self-interest, and that's why this can be called as a universal, because this is not for only ourselves, for our dear ones, but for universally it can be practiced. Metta has, so when we talk about the metta and abhidhamically, when we see metta's characteristic, so metta has the characteristic of promotion of goodwill. So it has the characteristic of goodwill. When we have real metta, so we should have goodwill towards all beings, and its rasa, the function, is functioning for the good of others, is its essence and property. So what metta does is we do good things for others. So that is its property actually, we can say, and its manifestation or effect is the filling of heart with loving kindness and the removal of hatred, aversion, or ill will. So when we have metta, it manifested our heart with loving kindness, with friendliness, with that moisturizing feeling, that kind of tenderness. So which is converts from hatred. So we can directly say that this metta is the opposite of hatred. So metta is opposite of aversion. Where there is metta, there should not have hatred. So when there is hate or hatred, dvesha, then there will not have metta. So another important thing is the proximate cause of metta. So what is the cause of metta? How can we have the metta? Is the tendency to see good side of things and beings, and never the faults. So when we, how can we cultivate metta? So how can we have metta if we don't have metta? So to have metta, the cause of metta, the approximate cause to cultivate metta is to see the good things in beings or in any condition, or we can say that we will see the condition, or we will see beings uh, in their positive way. Actually, it's we see the good things in a being, or we see the condition in a good vibration or the positive way. So we can give I think I can give an example also, like if our friend has a problem with talking. She is so talkative, and sometimes it irritates us. But the thing is, she's so helpful. She is ready to help in any condition whenever we need, and she is such kind of friend that upakaraka, like ready to help anytime. So but though we know that she's so talkative, sometimes irritates us, but we don't see that kind of, the small thing or her negative character or negative behavior. And we just try to focus in her good um, good behavior or her good characteristic. So if we see her good behavior, then we just minimize, or we just see that talkative thing is so minor. So if we see the good things, oh, she's so helpful and she helps me anytime, that's so good of her. Then if we think in that way, I think that we can easily have a loving kindness towards her. Otherwise, if we think and we just see the negative part of her, she's always negative. I just feel irritating and I don't want her to have in my life, or I think she's not a good friend of mine. Then neither we can just have loving kindness towards her, or we can have a good friendship, and we will miss that upakaraka friend in our life. So if we see a good part of her, then one thing is we can spread our metta towards her, and um, at the same time, then we will not lose a good friend also. I think that's the most important part of this metta. If we sometimes it's not easy to have metta in our heart, so difficult, because especially if we hate someone, and if we have negative vibration from someone, then it's difficult. But it's mm, though it's difficult, then we need to have metta, isn't it? Because we know, I think we will be talking about its importance and advantage of metta. So if we don't have metta, so our mind will fill with hatred, or sometimes we'll be anxious, or I think that mind will be harmful towards oneself. That's why then we need to cultivate metta in our heart. So how can we cultivate? We see the good part of things. I think it's clear. Let's move. Loving kindness meditation is principally designed to counteract towards anger or aversion, followed by envy, avarice, acharya, and worry, kukucha. So loving kindness meditation, because at the end of the session, I would like to conduct short meditation also. So this kind of meditation principle is designed to counteract towards anger or aversion, dosha. Um, so this kind of dosha also followed by some kind of jealousy, envy, and some kind of matcharya, kind of greediness, or and also the worry, kukucha, anxiousness. So if we can develop our loving kindness meditation, so it can reduce our dose of anger, and we can have less jealousy and machariya and kukucha. So this kind of meditation is that's how so important in our life. Without this, I think we will be more anger. We will develop our jealousy, more anxiousness, worries. So I think loving kindness is um, important for that also. Those unwholesome mental factors generate negative mental emotion, definitely. So if we have developed our mind with that anger and jealousies, so definitely that kind of mental factors will generate negative mental emotions. Most of daily mental stabilities such as anxiety, stress, irritability, unsatisfactoriness, worries that people experience are caused by those four unwholesome mental factors. So those kind of mental factors lead us to anxieties, stress, and all these kind of unwholesome factors. To develop positive attitude and emotions, the loving kindness meditation is necessary. So to reduce that kind of negative mental emotions and to develop the positive attitude and emotions and filled with that positive vibrations in our heart, the loving kindness meditation is very important. So metta is the protective and immensely patient attitude of a mother who forbears all difficulties for the sake of her child and ever protects it despite its misbehavior. So we have been hearing Metta Sutta, and we know the example of mother who cares and protects immensely and patience towards her child. So in the same way, we also have to send the metta, and we have to have metta towards others. That we have to have patience towards us, and we also have to have kind of protectivity um, to develop this kind of metta as a mother who protects and um, forbears all difficulties for the sake of our child. I think that's a very well-known example from Buddhism and from the Metta Sutra. Thinking others also as oneself, wishing for welfare and well-being of them is also metta. So I also brought here another important part of metta, that we can spread metta if we get the example of oneself, that we want to be happy. I want to be happy, so why others not? They also want to be happy. So thinking in that way, we can wish them for their welfare and for their good. I think mostly Buddha also give this kind of example, that attanang upamang katva nahaneya naghate. So don't harm others, like getting the example of oneself, that I don't want to be harmed. So in the same way, all beings want to be happy. So thinking in that way, so wish for their well-being, welfare, as I wish for myself, welfare of myself. So therefore, metta is incompatible to qualities of hatred and anger. So I think I have also mentioned already that metta is just converse to this hatred and anger. So where there is metta, if we can develop it, we will definitely have less angers and maybe sometimes no angers. Here I get the example of the Dhammapada. So I think this is also very well-known verses, and it's also important. That's how I just brought here. Aposimang avadimang azinimang ahasimi etang upanayhanti verang te sang nasammati. So it's meaning that he abused me, he beat me, he defeated me, he robbed me. In those who harbor such thoughts, hatred is not claimed, not calm, sorry. So when we thinking and having hatred towards someone else, thinking he abused me, he scolded me, he hated me, he defeated me, and he robbed me. So until we will have that kind of thoughts, then we will never have uh, loving kindness towards anyone. Even cannot come down our mind also. So once we just not think, or we don't think about those kind of thoughts, then definitely our mind also will become. So of course, so the same as stanza, etang na upanahiyanti vedante supasamati. So who do not harbor such thoughts, hatred is calm down. So once we do not think about those thoughts, whoever has abused us or beat us, defeated us, then at that time only the calmness arise. So where there is hatred thoughts, then there is no calmness. So um, to build, to develop our calmness, we may not want to hit someone or have that kind of thoughts. So loving kindness is in that way that once we do not hate someone, or we do not think that kind of hatred thoughts, that kind of um, disliking thoughts, and that kind of anxiousness. So then only we can have calm mind, and only calm mind can develop metta. So when we talk about the advantage of this metta, or the what are the advantages or the benefits of this kind of metta, or spreading metta, we can see from the Metta Anisansa Sutra in Anguttara Nikaya that there are 11 kinds of benefits. So what are those? I think these are very important to know. Sometimes we can practice loving kindness, seeing this kind of benefits. Yeah. Oh, there are many benefits from this kind of practice. So if we know some kind of benefits or the result and sansa, then we feel that we have to do this. Sometimes Buddha also said that seeing the result, we try to cultivate the good things, and seeing the bad result actually. So seeing the good result, we try to cultivate the good things, kusalas, and seeing the bad result, we need to restrain from doing bad deeds actually. So that's also one kind of in the tricks in our life we can use this. I think this is also very important, I think, ways to cultivate our Buddhist and freeing from bad deeds actually. So what are the advantages of practicing metta? So the first one, he sleeps in comfort. Sukhang supati. Then you can just tell me who has a problem with sleeping, who has to take sleeping pills. Do you have to tell anyone that? Do you have to take? So then you have to cultivate metta. If you have no issues in sleep, means you have metta. You can see in that way too. So one who has loving kindness towards oneself, towards others, can sleep easily in comfort. Supati. So it's mean that kind of loving kindness, that emotions make us comfort actually. That's lead us to sleep properly. And when we are anxious, when we are worried, and when we have as I have said, of course, just thought about someone's, he did that, he does that, he did that, those things. And so when we are anxious, then I think definitely our mind is anxious, and that doesn't lead us to sleep well. So that's how we need to be aware that this kind of thing in our life. Sometimes we are just worrying why I cannot sleep properly in night, why I just see the nightmares, but we just don't see the cause. Sometimes we need to go to the cause to cure the disease. I think that's very important. So the second one, he awakes in comfort, sukhang paribujjati. So who sleeps well can easily wakes also well. That's, I think, very obvious, and that's also very true that if we cultivate metta, then we can sleep well and as well as we can awake well. When I was in Sri Lanka, one of my friends, she was also nun, and we have two beds in one room, and she sleep in one side, and tomorrow morning she wakes up in that in same posture. Actually, I used to be very wonder how she just used to sleep so well and so comfort in the same posture, not even moving. I think she also maybe develops used to develop a lot of metta. She was just fine with every situation. So I think that kind of practice only, I feel that can develop that kind of day-to-day lives conditions also, that sleeping one portion and waking up. So I think, yeah. So if we also practice metta, these benefits also we can get, and he sees no evil things. I think no nightmares, no papa comes binang pasati. That's very important. And he is there to human beings actually who has loving kindness. Because of that, tenderness, I think we all like the good human beings and who has met that special need, and we appreciate them, and we like to associate those that kind of person who talks so well, who who behaves so well with the metta, with loving kindness, with the smooth voices, and with the good heart. So we like those kind of people. So this is so important, and this is he is there to non-human beings, not even human beings. Sometimes amanusang piyo hoti, manusang piyo hoti, amanusang piyo hoti. Even the not human beings also will protect him, or maybe they will also like him, and devas or gods protect him. Devatara kati. So those kind of people will be um, protected and looked cared by devas also. Even fire, poison, sword cannot touch him. Nasa aging nasa agingwa visangwa satangwa kamati. Even fire, poison, and sword cannot harm him who has been practicing this kind of metta, and his mind can concentrate quickly. So tuvatang chittang samadhi. If our mind is restless and anxious, I think we cannot focus in something. So if our mind is free from that kind of restlessness and anxieties, then I think easily can concentrate. So that kind of person can easily concentrate quickly who has metta. So his countenance is serene. So, Mukawanno vipassiddhati. That kind of person's face appearance will be clear, serene. Who has developed anger and jealousy, we can see through our face sometimes that the face is sometimes not pleasant, though maybe the skin is fairer, but if developing hatred and jealousy, so cannot be happy and peaceful. So I think we can see through the even faces. He dies without being confused in mind. So when someone can continue practicing this kind of metta at the end of their life. I mean, of course, the dying, the marana is not easy thing actually. Even Buddha has said maranam pi dukkhaṃ. So dying also is a suffering, and the condition when we die and just, ending this breath is not easy. We are attaching to this world, and we have been dealing with many issues, and we want to live more, and many things happen in our thoughts while I think the last moment comes. Even with sometimes someone says, even I cannot think about the date. So that kind of condition, in that kind of condition, I think it's difficult to leave ours in the last moment. And if we have practiced this metta and continues our metta practice, I think that last moment can be peaceful, because we have been spreading our friendliness and that kind of love and all those kind of good emotions towards everyone, even towards oneself. So I think nothing to be worried. I'm just okay. I don't have hatred to anyone. I have been okay with everything. So I think that kind of moment we can easily leave this world as a mulho kalam karoti. So I think that's also very important in our life. If he fails to attain arhanship, the highest if he fails to attain arhanship, the highest sanctity, here and now he will be reborn in the Brahma world, uttaring apati vidsanto Brahma loku bhagavoti. So while he is practicing this metta and even fails to attain arhanship in this realm, in this world now, then at least he will be reborn in the Brahma world if one practices metta. I think these are the very important benefits we will gain if we practice metta. And I forgot to mention that I think these are very important things. And about the metta, so we can spread metta through, I think, there are three kinds of metta. I think didn't mention here. And what are those three kinds of metta? We can dedicate our metta through verbal, through words, vajasika metta, and through we can just do metta through physically also, sadharic metta, and we can do metta through mind, mentally also. With manasika metta. So there are three kinds of metta. We can do it, or we can practice it. We can verbally spread our metta, saying if someone is in someone needs our calm words or good words or whenever they have problems. So we can just spread our metta through words. May he be well and happy. Or we can just deal with that problem with solving some kind of problem with the verbally we can discuss and talk. So through that also we can spread our metta. And physically, if someone needs help, and with our metta, we can help them physically. So that kind of metta, second metta. And the third metta, mentally. Normally we are being like practicing metta through mind. I think we will just wish for them. May they be happy, may they be well, in that way. So we can do metta through our mind also, mentally also, but we also can do through verbally and physically also. I think that's also very important in our day-to-day life. So when we now let's move second one. This is the karuna, compassion. Karuna, rendered in English as compassion, means the emotion of the heart and kampa that is conducive to the removal of the pain or suffering of others. It is kindness extended to others, furthering their happiness, protecting them from affliction. So karuna also very important. So it is the compassion, which means the emotions of the heart that is conducive to removal of the pain. So we will have that kind of heart, kind heart, we can say also, that kind of heart that heart wish for someone's welfare. May they be free from suffering if they are really suffering. So we feel that kind of emotions that is called karuna. So it is a kind of kindness extended to others, furthering their happiness, protection, and affliction, free from affliction. So that karuna who has the compassionate heart only can think of others' happiness and their protection. Actually, I think that's also very important. One's heart quivers when others are subject to suffering, or that which dissipates the suffering of others. So, paradukke hadayang kampatiti karuna. So one's heart quivers or shivers when someone is suffering. So that is called karuna. There are people in this world that though someone is suffering, and though someone is dealing with many problems, but it doesn't matter to someone, or doesn't take care. They take as seriously. Oh, that's their problem. They will do as they like, or they have been suffering. So for what? I don't care like that. So that kind of person means that he doesn't have compassion towards others. So he doesn't care what world is happening, or what neighbor is doing, or what someone is suffering in on the way, or whatever, whoever is suffering, he doesn't care. It means that kind of people, so we can see in our day-to-day life. So it means that they don't have compassion towards others. I mean, um, they are kind of selfish towards oneself, that their own problem is only problem. So if someone is suffering, means they don't care. So it means no karuna there. It is one of the great qualities, Mahakaruna of the Buddha. So when we see the compassion and the special compassion, it is great qualities of the Buddha is the great compassion, Mahakaruna. So we may not have sometimes. It's difficult to have, because as a Buddha who has Mahakaruna, great compassion towards the world, then he just even walk miles and miles to save someone's life, and to enlighten someone's, and even sometimes as a Sunita who has been um, like socially discriminated, and who has been suffering through his own life, Buddha went to him and send the compassion, spread the compassion, and talk to him, and make him realize the worth of his life, and even ordained him. So that kind of even a subtlest, even Buddha went there only for a person, even a low caste person who has been even working and just living his own life. And Buddha sees a good thing in him and just try to ordain him to just free from this samsaric life. So that kind of compassion he has in the Buddha. So that's why he is a Mahakaruna. I think we have many many examples of Patachara, and even Kisa Gautami's life, and even many more, that the Buddha has a Mahakaruna towards living beings, towards human beings, and all living beings actually. Compassion is a virtue which uproots the wish to harm others. So that is a kind of virtue. So we try to uproot the wish to harm others. So when we have compassion, this means we will not harm others, because we cannot even see they have been harmed or they have been suffering. So it uproots the wish to harm others. That's, I think, very good qualities of compassion. Who has no compassion, it means they can easily harm others also. So that's, I think, we need to be careful that if we cannot cultivate compassion, means we are easily have that kind of tendency to harm others, because we do not care their sufferings, their pain. And it makes people so sensitive to the suffering of others, and cause them to make this suffering so much as their own, that they do not want to further increase them. So Edward Pons here says that uh, who has compassion, so he may not be able to harm others, because he thinks that um, to the suffering of others, and cause them to make this suffering so much as their own. So thinking that their suffering is also as mine. So if I just try to harm them, so they do not want to further increase them. So that kind of compassionate person may not want to increase their pain, making them suffering. Very important. That's nice. So this compassion is not self-pity or pity for others. So we just think that sometimes, oh, so sad, that dog is just lying on the road and feeling suffering like that. It's not a kind of pity that we want to have for others. It's not kind of pity for self that how pity, which sometimes we use that pity words, but here the compassion itself is not a pity. It's a kind of oh, how it could if I can help to help them to free from that pain. So that kind of, I think, feeling is the compassion than having the pity for others. It's really feeling one's own pain and recognizing the pain of others. So I think that's the one. Seeing the wave of suffering we are all entangled in, and we become kind of compassionate to one another. Here again, Joseph Goldstein, the experience of insight, he has said that seeing the wave of suffering we are all entangled in. So we have been also entangled with that kind of suffering. We have been that kind of wave, and we become kind and compassionate to one another. So important. You see that we also have been suffering, and our mind also in dealing with many problems, and we have also suffering in our life. So thinking the same way, we become kind and compassionate to one another. I think very important. If we have that kind of compassion and that kind of loving kindness, I think in this world we may not have any kind of wars also, I guess. Yeah. Even the Ukraine and Russian war, it is not affected only them, not only the one human, two human. I think all over the world we have been shivered from that kind of injustice or unhuman wars. I think it harmed many people actually. So if that kind of if they have that kind of compassion, maybe they may not have that kind of war. They should have some kind of settlements, maybe. Yeah. So who has developed this kind of kindness and compassion? I think we may not want others to be suffer, because we know that we have been suffering oneself too, and we may not want others to be suffer. So that kind of emotions, that kind of feeling is very important actually. And when we see the abhidharmically, let's move here. And abhidharmically, when we say the characteristic of Karuna is the elevation of pain and misery in fellow beings, or the bearing of pain oneself for the sake of their happiness. So once we have Karuna, means we may have that alleviation of pain and misery in fellow beings. We will wish that the others be free from that pain and misery. We were having that kind of pain. And also, or we can say that the bearing of pain oneself, sometimes we bear the pain for someone's sake of happiness, for their sake of their happiness actually. We are ready to bear that kind of pain. And its functions is being pity at the sight of seeing suffering for others. So here I mentioned here pity means that here we feel sad, sorry that someone is suffering. So we just feel that oh, if I can help, or if he can be free from that pain. So we can have that kind of thoughts, that kind of functions if we have that compassion. So the manifestation is peace and harmless thought, refraining from injury. So once one has compassion, so he will be manifested by peace and harmless thought, actually, refraining from even injuries. So the sight of the helplessness of those who suffer is proximate cause. So how can we just have that kind of compassion towards oneself? So seeing someone's helplessness, actually, who has been suffering. So we just feel that, oh, that person is suffering not because he wants to be suffering, because he is helpless. So if we can see in that way, I think we can have compassionate. If we just do not want to care that, oh, he suffers because himself, so who cares? if we think in that way, I think we may not have compassionate heart ever. So we just see that, oh, how helpless person, oh, so sad. In that way, then we can just have at least try to immerse compassion towards oneself. I think that's very important. Okay, let's move to the mudita. I think we have enough time, so I'm just taking more time and elaborating more here. So mudita can be translated as sympathetic joy, and which implies rejoicing at the happiness, good fortune, or prosperity of others. So mudita itself is sympathetic joy. Here we can also translate as appreciating or appreciative joy. And we appreciate whatever they have achieved, so we are happy. So I think that's very important, and at the happiness and good fortune or prosperity of others. So we are happy for their happiness, for their good fortune and their prosperity. I think that's mostly people have. I think very less people have that kind of mudita, I guess. And Buddha, as I have mentioned at the very beginning, that these four qualities have been developed by our parents also. So they have that kind of mudita easily. They have mudita especially for their children, that whenever they grow and they can walk, even parents are happy when they can say even mommy, daddy, or mama, like that. So they are so happy. I think no one else would be happy and seem joyful to see their children to be happy. So that kind of mudita has been developed by our parents, especially. And in Nyanamoli's translation of Visuddhimagga, he uses the gladness for the mudita actually. So the mudita gladness as one of the divine advice is always used in the sense of gladness at others. So being gladness, seeing others' prosperity actually. The Buddha Kosha illustrates this by saying, on seeing or hearing about the dear person being happy, cheerful, and glad, gladness can be aroused thus. This being is indeed glad. How good, how excellent. So I think Buddha Kosha's illustration is so very nice. So seeing someone's, our near one, dear ones being cheerful and glad, we just feel that we are so like a join with their gladness. So join with their happiness. Wow, how good, how excellent they are indeed happy. So we also just like a togetherly happy for their happiness. So that's a mudita. I think we also have to develop this kind of, wow, how good they are happy. Just as he would be glad on seeing a dear one, beloved one, so he prevails all being with gladness. So so seeing others being happy, our beloved person is happy, so he pervades all beings with happiness. So he spreads all over the places, or all beings that with gladness. So he himself happy, so he seeing someone is happy, so he's more happy. So I think that's very important. So we pervade the happiness. That's good. I think that's nice. If one cannot appreciate others' success, possibly is jealous of them. Therefore, opposite of mudita is jealousy. So if we cannot be happy for others' success, and if we are not be cheerful with them, it means there is something going on in our mind. It's when we are not happy of them, means we have jealousy. So we can just feel that we jealous because they succeed, and I don't have that kind of success, and we are jealous because oh, they got the new houses. So because we have, our house is small, that kind of feelings come to us sometimes. Even our sisters and brothers, we also feel, oh, she got a good marks or the grades in school, so I don't have that grades. So everyone is praising him, so I feel jealous. In that way, sometimes we may feel, and when we just grew up, we just see that our neighbors got a good car, then we feel jealous. We don't have. So sometimes, that jealousy is is manifested because then we are not supposed to have that kind of level. We don't have that car, so we feel jealous. Sometimes that jealousy can be reduced also, or that mudita can be can be developed also through our success itself. If we are not success and someone is success, we feel jealous. Means we also need to work hard in our success. So we may not feel jealous at all. So someone like if I have really a big car myself, then if my neighbor have the same car, maybe the jealous will be less. I think this kind of experience is we can develop in our life, that if we are successing by ourselves and we are having good education by ourselves. So someone just got master degree, so we feel nothing maybe sometimes. So I think jealousy can be reduced in that way. So we strengthen ourselves economically, physically, and especially spiritually, of course. That if we can do that, also I think the jealousy can be reduced. And sometimes, though we have the same prosperity or property, sometimes we may have we may have jealousy. So I think we need to be careful about that. We need to be mindful that we are having jealousy, though we have the same property. So it means we don't have mudita. We must need that mudita to in order to like have a good relationship, good communications, good friends and good community. I think without this mudita is so difficult. That's why mudita is very important. Okay, while loving kindness and compassion are objective here, Sea of Night has given an insightful things also here. While loving kindness and compassion are objective, reaching out to all sentient beings, mudita and equanimity are subjective or personal in their application. So here, when we say that loving kindness and compassionate, especially it is if we are having loving kindness towards oneself, of course it is subjective, but especially when we take as application, then especially it is loving kindness and compassion towards others actually. So it is like a loving kindness we are having and compassionate we are having for others, just mean for outsiders or for the sentient beings all over the world. So it's more like objective. And when we call to the mudita and equanimity are subjective. So it's very important actually. We are having, mudita or appreciative joy within ourselves. So seeing others, we feel that joy and happiness in ourselves. It's mean the subjective. It's more subjective, and equanimity also same that way. I think that's very important. We can also analyze that way. Once again, in Buddhist thought in India has said that insight to suggest that mudita. Sorry, he had the insight to suggest them that mudita is that sympathy is a prerequisite of metta, loving kindness, and of karuna. So this mudita is very important, and Kant also has said that it is a prerequisite of metta and karuna. So to have metta and to have karuna, I think that's very important. To have metta and to have karuna, we must have a kind of sympathetic joy that we may have for others. Otherwise, we may not have developed, we may not be able to develop this kind of loving kindness and compassion towards others. I think so. First of all, we must have sympathetic joy in our heart that if someone is feeling someone in a sympathetic way. Mudita tacitly implies looking for the good in others and learning to recognize and admire what good there is. So mudita uh, implies looking for the good in others and learning to recognize and admire what is good. So once we have been have attitude mudita or having the sympathetic joy, then we can easily see someone's good thing actually, and we can easily admire, we can recognize and admire what the others are doing, what their good things actually, what they have been doing. Here, I think that's also very important that if we have like a positive thoughts, then we will lean, or we will have tendency to see the positive thinking. If we have been developing negative thoughts and negative sense, then we will see the negative things only. That's how mudita, I think, implies looking for the good in others and learning to recognize and admire. So if we have mudita, so we will be looking for a good in others than bad things. The characteristics, now again, abhidhamically, the characteristic of mudita is feelings of joy, gladness, or delight. So once we have mudita, we will definitely have that joy, happiness, and delightfulness. And this mudita is the absence of envy or the jealousy, as I have said, where there is a no mudita, so there will have the jealousy. So it functions as jealousy. So if we cannot develop our mudita in ourselves, we will definitely have jealousy, seeing someone's prosperity and success. Its manifestation is the destruction of dislike. So once we have mudita in our heart, so they will not have disliking. Oh, I don't like that guy. We don't like that guy because they have been succeeding well, because we have jealousy. So if we have developed mudita, so we will not have that kind of disliking also. The sight of the happiness, good fortune, or prosperity of others is like proximate cause. So seeing their happiness, good fortune, and prosperity of others can be the cause to have the mudita. So we will be happy for what they have, their happiness and good things. Okay, this is the last one. We will have a upekkha, or equanimity. Upekkha, usually rendered as equanimity, means a balanced state of mind through which one is able to contemplate with disinterestedness by assuming a neutral position and by keeping the mind unaffected by either attraction or repulsion, and not subject to either elation and depression. So here upekkha, usually we have been translating as equanimity or samabhava, which means the balanced state of mind. So have the balance as a scale. We have the balance in both sides. So through which one is able to contemplate with disinterestedness by assuming a neutral position. So being a neutral, not liking, not disliking, not affected by any kind of attraction or repulsion or disgustness, or even not subject to either happiness or the depression. So I think that's very important. This equanimity also, mostly our mind is disturbed by some kind of attachment either, or if not, we are disturbed by disliking or detachment. It's not detachment, attachment, and kind of disliking or hating someone, disgusting from someone. So we are unable to stabilize our mind. But if we have developed our equanimity, I think that is the most peaceful state or serene state of our mind. Equanimity is also one of the perfections. It is called as a paramita, and also one of the 7 enlightenment factors needed to gain wisdom. So it is the one of the upekkha shambhojanga. This is very important to attain enlightenment. Equanimity is an important practice to balance emotions with sense of impartiality. So equanimity is that practice to balance our emotions with a sense of impartiality. So they will not have any kind of partiality. Various mental problems arise due to lack of being able to manage two emotions, just likes and dislike. I just mentioned before that our emotions have problem with that kind of likes and dislike attachments and disliking. So once we have equanimity, so our mind will be stable. So that stable mind and will lead to the serene mind. Actually, in our life, we often move by these eight vicissitudes. It is Astaloka Dhamma or Ataloka Dhamma. You know, what are those? So rise and fall, you know, and success and failure, lose and gain, honor and blame. Ayasta, Sukha, Dukha, and Labha, Ninda, Prasansa. So those kind of eight vicissitudes actually we have been dealing with. We feel how our hearts respond to all this with happiness and sorrow, delight and despair, disappointedness and satisfaction, hope and fear. So when something come good, something rise in our life, so we feel so happy. And when the downs comes or we fall somewhere, then we feel very sad and anxious. If we are success again, we are so happy. The happiness doesn't even have limitations. So we just make parties. We just tell everyone that this kind of success we had. All those things happening and no balance of the mind of joys that we are happy. Like no one is happy in this world, and we are just success and so happy. We just spread our joys in that way. But if we fail, then again we just like feel so anxious, so sad, like we are failing forever. We are the one who failed. We cannot just balance those kind of emotions. We cannot. So difficult to balance in that failure that and we cannot just think about even dhamma that we failed means we are just so sad. So that kind of emotions comes and goes in our life. So when we will lose something and gain something also, our emotions are not balanced. Even honor and blame. If someone blame, like we are been thinking for long time, sometimes 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, even 1 month, even after 1 year or so, sometimes we are remembering. Someone just, said that. I never forget that thing. Like if someone blamed me or someone just, criticized me, I never want to forget. So we are just holding that kind of views, that kind of thoughts and suffering. So it means we are being unable to balance our mind. So that's how we are being sometimes happy, sometimes sorrows, those kind of emotions, middle of that emotions we are living. So for that, what we have to do. So that equanimity is very important, balancing our mind and not shaken by these eight vicissitudes, not shaken ever. Like whenever rise, we are rising, and sometimes fall. And oh, it's also impermanent. Just stabilizing our mind. We got the lottery, 10 million or 100 million, but balancing our mind, even lose something, lose the dear ones, near ones. We are balancing our mind. So that's the way of our life that we have to lose someone, and we either earlier or later on. That's the nature of this life. So in that way, if we can develop our equanimity, I think when we can develop our equanimity, I think suffering is so less. The equanimity requires the resilient presence of mind. So equanimity doesn't come and stay with us. We have to have the resilience presence of our mind. We should have very careful contemplation of the mind. True equanimity, however, should be able to meet all these severe tests and to regenerate its strength from sources within. True equanimity can come with the severe test and the regenerated strength from sources within ourselves, actually. it will possess this power of resistance and self-renewal only if it is rooted inside. So this kind of equanimity can be gained through the power of resistance and the self-renewal only, and it is rooted in ourselves and in inside actually. Inside here means like with wishful thoughts. So what are those inside and wishful thoughts? The first insight is that understanding that the various experiences we undergo result from our own karma. So that's, I think, very important. We just have the thoughts of because we are having this kind of experience, because we did something, and because of that result coming. So our actions in thought, word, and deed. So because of that, we are having that kind of consequences perform in this life and in earlier life. It can be either in this life and earlier life. So that's how we have this kind of consequences. It is our heritage, relatives born from it, and it is our refuge. That's how Buddha said, Kamma Sakha, Kamma Dayadu, Kamma Bandhu, Kamma Yoni, Kamma Patisarana, Yang Kammang Karisami, Kalyanangva, Papakangva, Tasadayadu. Whatever we have done because of that action, so that is our actually our heritage, actually our relatives that come born from that. So that is our refugee. So whatever we have done with the good thoughts or the bad thoughts, that is the heritage of that kind of good thoughts and the good deeds or the bad deeds actually. So that karma is very important here. Because of that, we will have the good consequences and bad consequences. So knowing that kind of conditions, then we can develop our equanimity. The second insight on which equanimity should be based is the Buddha's teaching of no self or anatta. I think I was about to say even earlier that even having that kind of no self and that thought is so important. It's not easy to develop about the no self, that everything is not mine, not belong. It means not belong to oneself. It is impermanent, and also we can just even develop the impermanence here. That something has happened, and it is not there is no self. It is not mine. In that way, we can develop the equanimity. Something happened, and it is not belong to me actually. Not it is not mine in that way. And sometimes even we can just develop equanimity, being like it is impermanent, So because of that, we may not attach to something, and even not disliking to something. Just let it go. The equanimity. So equanimity has the characteristic of impartiality. There will not have any kind of discrimination. So no liking, no disliking, just stable or just balancing the mind or having neutral regarding all beings equally in its essence or function. So once we have equanimity, we will think all beings are equal. As also I also have mentioned that thinking oneself that I also want to be happy, so others also want to be happy. So there will not have any impartiality. There will not have any partiality actually. So thinking equally of beings, thinking in a same stage. The suppression of both aversion and attachment is its manifestation. So once we have developed equanimity, so we will not have any kind of hatred and attachment. So still again neutral. Its proximate cause is perception of the inheritance of one's karma. So as I have mentioned also that if we have been thinking in that way, that as I am the owner of my karma and the inheritor of my karma, whether I create good or bad karma, I shall be the inheritor of that karma. So if we can think in that way, we can easily stay in equanimity. Okay, the last one we would like to have the benefits of Four Sublime States. So if these qualities of metta are sufficiently cultivated through metta bhavana, the meditation of universal love, the result is the acquisition of a tremendous inner power which preserves, protects, and heals both oneself and others. So because of the metta, I think I'm going to talk all about the Four Sublime States here. So when we develop the metta here, so we have talked about the 11 benefits. Besides that, this also kind of benefit that it resolves the acquisition of the tremendous inner power which preserves and protects and heals both oneself and others. So it's been gives the powers, inner power, which protects and preserves, heals oneself and even others. Even Buddha has mentioned that Nahiverena Verana Samanti the Kudachana, Averena Samanti, yes, Sanantana. Hatred never stays through hatred in this world, through love and non hatred only this ceases. So, non hatred itself is the loving kindness. So, that's very important here. So, again, the benefits we would like to talk. These four sublime. Four attitudes are said to be excellent sublime because they are the right or ideal way of conduct towards living beings. Sattesu Samma Patipatti. They provide, in fact, the answer to all situations arising from social contact. They are the great removers of tensions, the great peacemakers in social conflict, and the great healers of wounds suffered in struggle of existence. So Nyanaponika has mentioned the benefits of they are called these four sublime abodes are called excellent or sublime because they try to help us to remove all the tensions and it is also the peacemakers. That's how it's very important. If we cultivate compassion towards each other, it brings harmony in family and society. I think that's the most important thing to cultivate compassion towards each other. And I think we have been talked about that. That's also. So here, some sympathetic joy. Mudita is one of the best ways to cultivate positive attitude towards the people who lived in happy and joyful life. Because of this practice, oneself will be free from jealousy and disappointments, and in the other hand, others also can be share their happiness and success with us, which will bring harmony and peace in society within nations and internationals too. I think that's also very important to make our society and nations and internations all living beings together and harmony and live in peace. And this mudita is so very important. Equanimity will help us to live properly and peacefully in any circumstances, either in the happiest moment of our life or in any kind of tragedies and pandemics. I think if we can develop our equanimity when COVID pandemics also we have already left it now, and so sometimes it comes again and again. But still, if we can live with that equanimity, you know, even pandemics also will not move us actually. Who has already developed this equanimity? That's how this equanimity is also very important. I think those are the very important things we have discussed here, and these are the benefits. Now, further, I would like to show you how we can practice this course of advice about this daily life. So this is the way I have been showing here that metta sabbe satta avera huntu apyapacha huntu anika huntu sukhi attanam pariharantu. Here the meaning is may all beings be free from enmity and danger. May all beings be free from mental suffering. May all beings be free from physical illness. May all take care of ourselves happily. So here I have mentioned here about the sabbe sattas, all living beings. Even we can start to have this kind of metta meditation from ourselves. So like ahang awera onto, yeah, may I be free from all enmity and danger. May I be free from mental suffering. May I be free from physical suffering. May I take care of myself happily. So in that way also we can spread practice metta and karuna sabbe satta dukkha chantu. May all beings be free from pain and suffering. So we can spread karuna in that way. Mudita sabbe satta yatha latha sampati tu ma vikachantu. May all beings never cease from the prosperity they have acquired. So we can spread our metta in that way. And upekkha sabbe satta kamma saka hontu. May all beings be the owners of their own kamma. So in that way, we can spread our metta. And I think at the very last, I would like to meditation with you all. Let's meditate for a few minutes and practice Four Sublime States. I think you all can sit as a comfortable posture. I think we can meditate at this session, and I think we are about to have the last session. This one, I think we are about to end this Dhamma talk, and before that, we would like to have meditation. So I think we all meditate for some times. I think you can stay as comfortable you feel wherever you are sitting, in couch or in chair or in cushion. You can sit still and close. You may close your eyes. Straighten your back, even neck. We may want to straight. Let's start with Anapana for a few minutes. Then only we will have metta session. Let's bring your mind in present moment. I think all have closed your eyes. Just bring our mind in present. Let's feel our grounding force, how we have been sitting. Let's bring our thoughts. Let's try to see the breathing in and breathing out. While we are breathing in, let's recognize we are breathing in, we are breathing out. Let's recognize that we are breathing out. Daily life, we are so busy and not being able to see our breath. Let's try to recognize it. Sometimes it's difficult to see our breath. If for the beginners, then at the time we may not want to be anxious. Let's try to have the long breathing and long breathing out. It is just for a few seconds because we try to recognize and see the breathing in and breathing out. If we have been recognizing our breathing in and breathing out, we may not want to take the long breathing and breathing out. Just flow in a natural breathing in and breathing out. Once we have recognized recognize this breathing in and breathing out. We just see how breathing in and breathing out is happening. If I'm breathing in longer, we recognize it is long, being longer, and breathing out is the breathing out is longer. Just recognizing. Sometimes our thoughts may go out, we think something else. That's the nature of our mind actually. Then we try to bring to the breathing in and breathing out again. Now let's continue with Metta meditation. While we are closing our eyes, let we just think. Let's start from oneself. May I be free from enmity and danger. May I be free from mental suffering. May I be free from physical illness. May I take care of myself happily. May all beings be free from enmity and danger. May all beings be free from mental suffering. May all beings be free from physical illness. May all take care of themselves happily. May I be free from pain and suffering. May all beings be free from pain and suffering. May I never cease from the prosperity I have acquired. May all beings never cease from the prosperity they have acquired. May I be the owner of my own karma. May all beings be the owners of their own karma. We can continue it for a few more seconds. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, everyone.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So much grateful to you. Yeah.
My pleasure.
We have time for question and answer. Ayya, should we take some questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna open up the forum for question and answer. Please go ahead and raise your hand, and we will allow you to ask the question. Please wait So yeah, I do not see any more questions or anything. If there are any questions, please raise your hand. We'll allow you to unmute. And yeah, just a separate request. Yeah, we will have to just take the instructions, meditation instructions separately, and put it on to the YouTube for people to do the meditation on their own later on.
Yes.
So that, yeah, okay, yeah. Is that something we can do that later? Yeah.
Yes, sure. Yeah. If someone has any questions, can raise their hands. Maybe in regarding to like a day-to-day life problems or difficult to have develop metta towards someone. Like
Yes, yeah. Please raise your hand. We will allow you to unmute.
or maybe all are so clear that no need to explain anything.
We have allowed everybody to unmute now. Yeah, they can speak. We just
Vandami, may I ask anything?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I would like to ask that how important is the compassion in case of the medical profession, especially the students who are learning a medical profession?
The medical profession, you mean?
Yes, yes.
So it's medical profession. It means for the doctors and nurses. You mean,
Yes, yes, yes. Medical profession is the doctors and the nurses and all those who are working for the hospitals.
Yeah, I think very good and relevant questions to our day-to-day life problems. I think this compassion for medical professions are so important. From my own even experiences, I can say also, or even from the Ismail Buddha's point of view. So compassion is seeing someone suffering. We feel like they may be free from that kind of suffering, that kind of pain. So if that kind of pure compassionate thought will develop by any kind of doctor or even professionals, then I think they can work on that profession. I think so compassionately, so desperately. I think they can work properly with a pure heart and also with that compassionate heart. So first of all, that the chetana is so important, that they have the compassionate chetana, and once they have that kind of thought, I think to process their work will be more easier one way, and it will be like a cure someone, some patient or some who have been suffering, cure properly, and that he can feel, or he can understand that this person is suffering, and if I am suffer in that situation, maybe I will be suffer too much too. So freeing to free from that suffering, and that doctor or that nurse or that professional will work hard, or maybe work with a kind heart than being harsh, or like physically, or verbally, or mentally. They will be, I think, too kind to that person, and through that, I think the work will be done, or will be cured, or or guide properly. I guess I think that's very important quality doctor or profession that the medical professionals should have. Did I give you the answer?
Thank you so much, Aya. One more thing I would like to ask, this compassion, then the loving kindness, then staying in a present moment, mindfulness, and non-judgmental thing. I think this type of Buddha's teaching should be brought into the curriculum of the students, so which will make them a better person. What is your suggestion on this?
Yes, I think you are right that we can, if we can have this kind of voices to have the, I think this is so important to build this kind of qualities in students also from the childhood, for the children also. So I think they can be aware that, oh, we have to be kind to someone else and towards oneself. Have compassion towards others is good qualities. I think from childhood, children can learn that kind of good qualities. What Buddha have already said 2,600 years ago. I think we can bring that bring to that curriculum will be, I think, very beneficial. Even mindfulness meditation also for children, I think very important. If we can bring or we can have that kind of proposal to the principals in the student or principal in the schools, even I think even different areas or district, I think will be very beneficial. And as I know in Sri Lanka, so they are having Satipashala or mindfulness school. They are practicing mindfulness for children also. I think that is being so effective to many schools where they have been taking that kind of courses and practice. I think that's how, if we can bring or someone who has power or like I have a profession on that, I think can take this good qualities and good learning to school and can continue their curriculum will be very beneficial for the children.
Thank you so much. Actually, I'm in the medical profession and I'm working in Mumbai in a medical college, government medical college. And I had a thought that we should have this curriculum in the medical profession, which will definitely help the doctors become, of course, the doctors are compassionate, but they will be a better person in the future.
Yes.
And related to that, we are conducting one randomized studies in the first year medical MBBS students. We'll be taking them, we'll be dividing them into two groups. One will be interventional group and one will be the neutral group. In the interventional group, we are planning to give compassion, mindfulness, and non-judgmental lectures. Then we will have their personal interviews, and we are going to judge their stress level before and after the intervention. So
Yes.
I want your blessings for this work.
Yes, my blessings, and I wish for your good work and great results. And I believe you will have great results. But wish you good luck for your work. And I would like also suggest that I think having this kind of courses in curriculum will take time actually, but having this kind of voices is very important. That now today, I think 41 people are listening to this, and they are maybe having one thought, or maybe they already have also. So this kind of thought may grow slowly. So someday can have the effect or change in the curriculum and have this kind of teachings also. Yeah. And also I was like thinking sometimes like I'm a Buddhist nun, so I'm talking about this teaching, so it will be sometimes biased for other religion, or for Hindu or for Muslim or Christianity. So this kind of workshop can bring to your medical professions also, like having one day workshop, or maybe like a 1 hour or 2 hour workshop. So by someone, we are not saying that because we are Buddhist, so we want to bring you and talk about the Buddhist things. So more than that, we are just talking that we are having this kind of workshop. This is the only teaching about the Buddhism, so we don't want to be biased, or we can just say like explain things, and we can have the workshop on this. And time to time, if we are having workshop on this kind of great teachings, which are like very important to our own daily life. Sometimes we are suffering from jealousies, and of course you have mentioned about the judgmental thing. And more we are growing up and more we are developed technically, or more developed with many knowledges, then sometimes that judgmental things comes up naturally. And if we are not aware by ourselves, or people are not aware, either doctor or even any specialist or anyone who have been special positions, I think if they are not aware of what they have been doing or what they have in their thoughts, like unwholesome thoughts, then I think it will harm to oneself and others. So we can have the workshop also. That is my suggestion.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Any other questions we have on the group? Yeah, I do not see any more raised hand.
Okay.
So can we take the session towards completion, Ayya?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Venerable Dr. Prasannawati, for the session today. And the topic was Four Sublime States, and also helping us with the meditation. We are grateful to you. Much merits to you, Ayya, for giving us your Dhammadana today.
It is my pleasure.
And I wanted to also remind all the participants that next week we will be blessed with Venerable Bhante Dr. Varanyana from University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. And the topic is Dhamma therapy and its power of stress reduction. We had missed Dr. Varanyana earlier on the session. He couldn't join because of the technical issues. But we are happy that he is coming back next week with the same topic, Dhamma therapy and its power of stress reduction. So we are requesting all the participants to join again next week. And we wanted to just provide our thanks to Dr. Prasannawati and to Bhante from Mahabodhi Society here, Bhante Ananda and Bhante Jnana Rakkhita for giving us the Panchashila earlier in the session. So with that, I just wanted to conclude today's session. Bhante, Ayya, do I have your permission?
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much for having today.
Bhante, before we close the session for the day, Bhante, can you please do the Punyanumodan for us, Bhante?
May the blessings of the Triple Gem be with all of us. Whatever merits we have gained by undertaking Trisarana, Panchashila, and listening to the Dhamma, contemplating on the Dhamma, meditation, so many wholesome actions done within this last 2 hours, and whatever merits we have done today and earlier, may all these merits come to all the teachers, Dhamma teachers who have passed away, and all our relatives who have passed away. May they share the merits and be free from suffering and keep progressing towards enlightenment. And we share merits with all the teachers who are living, all the relatives, friends who are living. May they be free from suffering, and may they keep progressing on the path of Dhamma. We share merits with all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings share our punya, our merits, and may our merits conduce to further progress towards enlightenment, ultimately experiencing the bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
With that, we will conclude today's session. We'll see you all again next week. Same Zoom call, same time. Until we meet again, Namo Buddhaya to all. Bhante, do I have your permission to close the session, Bhante?
Yes.
Thank you, Bhante.